Today we are going to find the pivot index. So pivot index is nothing but an index in an array where the sum of the numbers on the left is equal to the sum of the numbers on the right. If there are no pivot indexes, we simply return -1. That's it. So now let us look at this given example, which is an array 173656, and 3 is the pivot index, 3 is the push, and the number 6, which means 1 plus 1 plus 3 is 11, and so is 5 plus 6, which is also 11. So I'm going to be using a two-pointer method. So I'm just going to write down the example, which is 17365, and I'm going to have two integers to store the sums. So the first s is going to be the total sum, which is 28, and another p, which is going to be 0. So now we are going to start iteration from our index 0, which is the number 1. So once we go to this, what we are going to do is we are going to subtract the number from the total sum, and we are going to add it to the integer p. So in this case, whatever we subtract, we are going to add. So we are at index 0, which is the value 1. So we are adding 1 to p, and we are subtracting 1 to s. Now we do the same thing, which is 20, and 1 plus 7, which is going to be 8. Now we move once again, and 3. So now we subtract 3 from 20, which is 17, and we add 3 to 8, which is going to be 11. So now here's where the magic happens. Now we move on to the next index, which is the index 3, and here when we subtract 6, we get the value 11. So we now s in value is equal to p, which means the sum on the left is equal to sum on the right. So we have found our pivot index. So this is what we are going to be doing in our code. So now I'm going to be creating a for loop, and actually before I create a for loop, I think it's better to have my sum. So just sum is equal to 0, and so is my pivot, which is equal to 0. So we are going to be adding to the sum, and we are going to be subtracting from the pivot. Okay, so now let's see. So we have found the sum here. This is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. And now we are going to be iterating once again. In this case, I need an index, and for this I'm going to use a normal for loop, and inside I'm going to be doing the addition to the sum, and I'm going to be doing the subtraction from the sum, and adding to the pivot. So we subtract, and now it's time to check if our sum is equal to the pivot. So in this case, we have found our pivot index, so we are going to return the index, which is I. So if that's not the case, then we are going to be adding the number to our pivot. So okay, so we are going to be adding the number to our pivot. Sorry about that. Equals the num at I. Okay, so and if in case if a pivot is not there, then we just simply return -1. Okay, I guess everything is right, and I'm gonna run the code. Okay, test cases are accepted, and I think we are good to go, and we can submit this. Okay, that's not bad. Memory is not so good, but the runtime is better. So I guess I'm satisfied with this. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching.